There have been sporadic protests today in Mozambique's capital, Maputo, as the new parliament was sworn into office on Monday. Mozambique has been hit by deadly unrest since last October's disputed election. The security forces have been accused of using excessive force against demonstrators who say the vote was rigged. President-elect Daniel Chapo has called for calm ahead of his inauguration on Wednesday, and the opposition has called for a strike in protest. Chapo's Frelimo party has been in power for 50 years. For more, let's cross over to our correspondent Dianne Hawker in South Africa's Johannesburg. Mozambique's new parliament has been sworn in today. Two opposition parties boycotted this ceremony. How did that affect proceedings?
Well, Gerard, proceedings actually continued as normal. Unfortunately, these two parties didn't have the number of seats that would have derailed the proceedings from going on. The parties which boycotted were Frelimo and the MDM party, and the one party had 28 seats. MDM had only 8 seats in the parliament. So not significant numbers, unfortunately, leading to the proceedings going ahead with the Frelimo representatives as well as the Podemos representatives. Now, interestingly, Podemos was the party which supported Venancio Mondlane, the candidate who Mozambicans have been protesting on behalf of for several weeks now. And that party seems to have split now with Mondlane, continuing with that inauguration or that swearing-in process and taking up the seats. They've said that they believe that after the Constitutional Council of that country finalized those results, that meant that the people had spoken and that it was their responsibility to then continue with joining the government process.
Now, there have been allegations of electoral fraud resulting in weeks-long protests. How has the government responded to that?
Well, the government has thus far called for calm on several occasions, and they've indicated that they are interested in speaking with the opposition parties. The difficulty has been with those parties reaching common ground on what the terms of that discussion should be. Also, the main opposition candidate, Venancio Mondlane, was out of the country for quite some time, and that did seem to impact the negotiations going forward. He returned to Mozambique recently and said that he is prepared to continue discussions with the government. However, he also said that the protests should continue, as he is quite adamant that he and his supporters believe that the results were rigged results and the election was rigged, and therefore they cannot accept Daniel Chapo as the president at this point.
Now, Daniel Chapo's inauguration is on Wednesday. What can we expect there?
Well, indications are that there could be additional protests over the next few days ahead of that inauguration. On the weekend, Venancio Mondlane held one of his regular online broadcasts where he called for citizens to go into the streets. But those protests haven't been as potent as we've seen in the past, partly due to the bad weather that's currently being experienced in Mozambique. It's been raining for the past few days, and protesters are also quite concerned about the high number of casualties in the protests. So we could see more protests, but unclear whether they will be as large as they've been in the past.
DW correspondent Dianne Hawker there. Thank you very much, Dianne.